in the New York and the Italy. Ritual animals. And you can see the example of technologies. We didn't fit the half of the golden head of the bear to know the technologies, and you see the other side without the half of the head.
Ever since I came to Israel as a child, I remember a musical instrument we had at home, the atar. It was broken and tossed aside. Then I understood that this symbolizes our fading culture and tradition. I tried to fix it. I did everything. I wanted it to play. I wanted to hear it, but nothing worked. The traditions of the Caucasus Jews have been passed down over the generations. Legend tells us of 10 tribes exiled by the king of Assyria. 19,000 Jews left Jerusalem through Syria, Babylon, Persia, into Media, then the mountainous Caucasus, east of the Caspian Sea. I'm descended from them. I came here 25 years ago. At first, when we came to Israel, I dreamed of returning to the Caucasus one day and bringing all our Jews to Israel. In 1992, I was sent to Azerbaijan as the Israeli consul. The most exciting part for me was going to our old home, seeing my room. All the associations and childhood memories rose up to greet me, voices of my family, friends and neighbors. The smell of the special cuisine, the music, images from my childhood, as if I'd never left this place. The man who bought our house is a Muslim, but he spoke our language, the language of the Jews. He told me, "Jacob, I didn't even touch, out of respect to the family, to preserve our house. He didn't change one thing, not even the paint." I was shocked to see how my dream was coming true. When I started working at the embassy, a lot of people came every day with questions. How is Israel? Where should we live? What aid do immigrants receive? It brought me back to memories of how my mother, with her 7 children, insisted on going to Israel. She displayed uncanny courage, never doubted her decision. Something inside her pushed her to immigrate to Israel. The immigration of the Jews from the Caucasus in the mid-19th century. No one knows about this. Even I didn't know. Not in school, not anywhere else. Nobody's interested. The unique language, the customs, the culture, they were among the first to populate the country. They contributed to security, to the building of the country. In the 1920s, Caucasus Jews established Kfar Baruch. The land was harsh, but they were determined to start their own farm. Their children were born here. They lived, fought, and died here. They were buried in this cemetery. Boaz still comes here once a week. He's one of the last Caucasus Jews in the settlement. His friends are buried here, the Dashov, Abramov, Shaulov, and lots more. So are his parents, the Rabayov family. My mother is from Darbent, and my father from Makhatskala. Makhatskala? Yes. They say that my grandfather Boaz, was asleep, and suddenly the prophet Elijah came to him in his dreams and said, "You must go to the land of Israel." My grandfather died in the Caucasus. My grandmother came to the land of Israel in 1906. She came to Jerusalem with 4 little children. What did the Caucasus Jews see here in the early 20th century? Poverty in the streets of Jerusalem and a sunburnt land. From the beautiful Caucasus, its towns so close to the heart of that country, to Kuba, Majilis, Darbent, Makhatskala, Vartishan, Nalchik, they came to the strange land which their ancestors dreamed of. Among the immigrants was the chief rabbi of the Caucasus, Jacob Yitzchaki. He was a great Torah scholar. He wrote the well-known Ohel Yaakov. Thanks to his connections with the Russian authorities, he helped all the poor Jews. He poured the foundations for the town of Ber Yaakov in 1907. No, the Caucasus Jews did not come here as guests. They came here to succeed. In this picture, you see Dizengoff in the middle and the Tel Aviv city councilman in 1908. This Jew, that's Uncle Borisov. In costume. Look at him, with the kinjal and the rifle. He was in charge of security when they built Tel Aviv. The Caucasus Jews were always among the first to defend Jewish settlements in the land of Israel. The courage of Ezekiel and Zvi Nisanov became legendary. Honor or death, the Caucasus Jews said, and fought to the end. Have you heard of the Hebron massacres when the Arabs killed many Jews in Hebron? 1929, the Arabs attacked our moshav. The only man with a gun and a pistol was my father. Why? None of the other Jews had any weapons. My father was a working man, and he was a member of the Haganah. He knew how to maintain his dignity. That's why everyone around him, Arabs included, respected him. Where did your father get all that? That's part of the tradition from the Caucasus. This is a picture from 1944. Is this you? Yeah, that's me. I was a ranger guarding the fields of this whole valley. There were 3 of us, rangers, Giora Zaid, Oded Yanai, and myself. When I used to walk around at night, I'd dress up like that so I wouldn't be recognized as a Jew, and no one could tell if I was a Jew or an Arab or anything else. Also, I knew how to respect others. I got that from my father. That you learn at home. At home, at home, at home, at home. I had a beautiful mare. I'd ride her. It was something else. Ah, I see you missed that. Maybe you could... no, it's... another year I'll be 80 years old. Maybe your grandson. My grandson, maybe. But this... times are different. You live in your own era. This isn't our time anymore.
זכור נא את שמותינו בבלווה בדרך אל העיר
Wait, what are you saying? Have you heard of Yafa Yarkoni? She's Caucasian. She's the nicest Caucasian in Israel. We know her. Yafa, you told me that your maid once asked you, Yafa, you're going to the tavern, that Middle Eastern show. What has it got to do with you? Not just her. Everyone asks, why would you go to that show? I tell them, what do you mean? I'm not Ashkenazi anyway. I don't know. What, you didn't know? I'm Caucasian. I grew up in a Caucasian environment. Today, when I perform before Caucasian families, they come up to me after the show and invite me to their homes. A few families together, and apparently every one of them is somehow related to me. When Caucasians get together, the women sit around on chairs with sadness in their eyes, some tiredness, but such warmth. You feel like you want to go up to each one of them and rest your head on their shoulder. I'd say a bit like the Zorba woman that you see in the movies. When you look in their eyes, the eyes say everything. Let's be curious. See who they are. Why does a Caucasian woman wear a scarf? Why is she dressed the way she's dressed? If you look at it with curiosity, you can definitely relate to that. If people talk about ethnic groups and ask about my origins, I don't think twice. I say immediately, no, I didn't come from Russia or the former Soviet Union. I'm from the Caucasus. What do you remember from Cuba? I mostly remember the snow, which I really miss in Israel, the somber weather, the winter, the wooden houses, the countryside feel, heating with firewood in a fireplace, things like that. Cuba, to me, was a very pastoral place. I was there on the seventh day of Passover. I went into the synagogue and we prayed. There they speak Caucasian and pray in Hebrew. And the Caucasian accent is a bit, makes it thicker. Not exactly warping, but gives it a whole different way of praying somehow. It's something unique. This whole religious thing, observing religious rules, it's one of the most ancient communities that observe their Jewish beliefs. And I think that in Cuba, where Jews are a minority, they are maybe 5% of the population. I don't think there is any Muslim or any other Gentile who doesn't respect the Jew and Judaism, because the Jews there fight for their beliefs. All my ancestors were rabbis, and every time we went to synagogue, even though I was naughty there, I still went to synagogue. When the old men would leave, they'd say, "Next year in Jerusalem." It's been with me since childhood. Even when I was in the Verkhayansk prison, I'd stand in the corner and pray. I knew the prayers by heart. Almighty God, only you can save me. They brought us to the brink of starvation, skin and bones, and some old thief said to me, "What are you mumbling about?" I told him, "I still want to get to Jerusalem, to my Holy Land." He sat up and said, "What? You should think about getting out alive, not about Palestine." And I said, yes, but I'll get there. I hope the Lord will help me and I'll get to Israel. And here I am. This is my mother. She died young, in 1945. This is my father, and this is me, 1 year old. My brothers, Yerucham, Mashiach, Chanukah, Benjamin, Levi, Alexander. Our names are from the Bible. I feel like I belong with them, the mountain Jews of the Caucasus. It's always related to Israel's past and the Torah, somehow. My desire to understand people in general, especially the Jews of the past. This was all before I read my father's diary, which I didn't know about then. When my father passed away, I started reading his diary, and that's how I got to know the man I was named after, my grandfather. Grandfather had participated in conferences. I didn't understand what they were at the time. These conferences were the Basel conferences. The bearded Jews of the Caucasus, with their traditional outfits and their kinjals, participated in these conferences. Herzl believed that Jews like these could build a country, defend it, and work the land. But in 1920, the Bolsheviks annexed the Caucasus to Russia. Immigration to the land of Israel came to a halt, and anyone who hadn't already left was stuck in Russia until the 1970s, when the Iron Curtain began to collapse and new waves of immigration began. I didn't know all that. Thanks to the photographs, I was able to see it through an artist's eyes. Mark Abayev is a Jewish painter. The Caucasus region is in his blood and soul. Black and white photos from the previous century, the harsh, amazingly beautiful nature, and the people in it. These make up his world, his photos, his old men and women. When I see my old works, the first thing I feel is fear, anxiety, a feel of compressed space, no air. Luda is Mark's wife. Theirs was an arranged marriage. Jews from the Caucasus don't just meet each other on the street. A girl sits at home waiting for the matchmaker to come to her. That's how they were introduced. He spoke so beautifully that in 2 hours I agreed to everything. Then I came to his house and saw his paintings on the walls, and in those paintings I saw my own face. The same profile, long hair. I used to have very long hair, and the eyes. For 2 years I just looked at him silently. He talked and I was silent. It's a kind of blind love when you see God. Today he paints completely different things. His paintings are full of sunshine and love. We were born in the Caucasus. We're mountain Jews, educated the Caucasian way. We lived in Russia from about aged 18 or 19. The Caucasus mentality is about keeping your word. Honoring one's word goes together nicely with the European style of business. We have 2 magazines. One is called Sputnik Ashdod and one is Sputnik Beersheva. Everyone comes to us because they know that in these towns we're the strongest ones. Only because of the money. This whole story is because I was a film and theater director. A man must support his family. My father, when he came to Israel a year after me, in order to help me, we were walking one day and he said, "Son, go and learn a profession. I'll support the family." So he went to work in a nursery and did all sorts of odd jobs. I passed by his workplace once. I saw him out there in the heat at high noon. The sun was so bright there wasn't even a shadow. I got out of the car and took everything from him and said, "That's it, stop, enough." If only we had music. What should I dance for you? We came to Israel in 1991. I brought modern dance to Dagestan. In the past 10 years, I've worked in a school for gifted children. We had 250 music students and 250 dance students. How can anyone dance at my age? How old are you? Old? Should I tell you? 66. You're a king. A king. Everyone wanted their children to learn at Misha Shabayev's troop, but we didn't call him Misha. His name was Shabayev. If Shabayev was there, morale was high. I'd like to create a dance saying, "We're here, in the Holy Land." My neighbors consider my garden to be perfect. And why? Because I have a lot of spare time. Sure, if I had a troop, I wouldn't work in the garden. Hello? No, not home yet. I'll be right there. We're sitting in the car. We met completely by accident. We were at their show, Lezginka, because our fathers are good friends. My wife has a degree in history, and she's a professional singer. If it's not too hard, could you sing me a song from where you're sitting? Is it possible? Yeah, I can. Please. When you see the results of your work and others appreciate it, it's an incredible joy. A Caucasian woman, first of all, is hospitable. She loves to cook. Not just to cook, but to make special food. She's an artist. What does your husband like to eat? Oh, his favorite is his mother's dish. It's called chudo kargi. What? Chudo kargi. One of our most prominent virtues is hospitality. Whenever there are guests, we prepare a meal. Financial conditions are irrelevant. You must be hospitable. This is chudo. It's stuffed with chicken. I love visiting this warm home, the home of Yosef Matayev, one of our most successful men. He's well known all around the world. You say Lezginka and they say Matayev. You say Matayev and they say Lezginka. We've been all around the world, Europe, America, Africa, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. We received standing ovations everywhere. We were welcome. They loved us. When I came here, I had a dream, to start a Jewish-Israeli troop. I was turned down every place I went.
Везде я получал отказ.
Talented people come here, but on the other hand, people are often disinterested, lacking understanding, and not always obliging. Happily, Yosef Matayev eventually received the support he needed and is now forming his own dance troupe. I often go out into the community. I don't like sitting in an office. I want to see people, look them in the eye, have them see me too. Many people came here because of me. They took their first steps because of me, and I thought that was good, that they'd come here and be okay. But unfortunately, that isn't always the way it turned out. They have problems with employment, housing, education. Sometimes people just get lost. There are great difficulties in many areas, and I can't watch that. The most important thing is the children. We don't want our children to go out on the streets. We want them doing something serious. In the Caucasus, children learn their traditions at home. Formal education was at school. The parents were less involved. Just like you, when I was your age, I came to Israel, maybe a bit younger, from Darbent. Yeah, I speak Caucasian. Anyone want to speak with me? That's how children open up, with a smile. We initiated the Wonder Project for them, to improve students' achievements by improving their self-esteem, by involving them in social activities and other things they love to do. Sasha Matatov is our coordinator. Not to do the menial labor we do nowadays. Here in Israel, Caucasians work in cleaning, in every menial non-professional job there is. I only took my matriculation exams after my military service. I could have done them before the military if, like you, I'd had someone to help me. After the army with a diploma, I felt like doors were opening. In the Caucasus, higher education did not determine social status. It was more important to support your family and bring home money. The decision to move ahead is yours. These children will have all the tools to cope with and fit into Israeli society. When I look at you, I remember myself. Now I'm like a small Caucasian boy. I want the kids to feel Israeli in every sense, and that's what's happening already. With that, they should know that they have a great advantage because they have the ancient Caucasus culture and tradition. Surrounded by the Caucasus Mountains, inaccessible in the snow and rain, the mountain Jews kept to themselves for centuries. They did not mingle with strangers or mix with other nations. They were like their neighbors in costume and cuisine, but kept their religion and tradition intact, despite the wars. They used weapons to fight efforts to convert them to Islam. Prominent Jewish symbols are evident in the handmade carpets. This tradition was passed down from generation to generation. In his youth, my father, Motashe Hizgilov, studied to be a rabbi in the school of the mountain Jews. He knew how to hypnotize people and probably practiced the Kabbalah. For 18 years, he ran a carpet factory. The family tradition led Tanya to carpets. Carpets are everything for the mountain Jews. Home is not home without them. They are warm and colorful. A house is empty without carpets. A house may not have any furniture, but it must have carpets. It's interesting to note that other nations make carpets too. But they call them Jehut Chechnya. That means Jewish decoration. And that means, first of all, the use of traditional Jewish symbols, like a menorah. This symbol is on almost all of the carpets. All the lines and corners lead to the menorah. The whole universe is on a Jewish carpet. The 10 sfirot of the Kabbalah make up the soul of man and world. Mercy, courage, beauty, eternity, glory, foundation, kingdom. Kingdom, Tanya Hizgolov said, is the unity of pure souls that aspire for unity of light and love. Beersheba, a crowded, stuffy hall, Another proof that the traditions of the mountain Jews will never disappear. The children's mother tongue may be Hebrew, but they still dance Caucasian dances. I'm here. I came to Israel. I'm Israeli. But we mustn't forget I'm also a Caucasian. An announcement is made that a Caucasian dance